Esports head-to-head on the late game, because Buriram are also really good in terms of the late game and in terms of scaling. So SVP, the only chance that they have right now is in the early game. But champion selection is coming up right now. What do you think the draft looks like? What picks could they possibly have coming into, with that early game aggression? Skimmy gave some points over here. D2, what about you?
Oh, they didn't ban the Singed. Oh goodness, Skimmy, pop off.
Yeah, look, hey, because we talked about this, right? And we know that this is this like catch-22. Do you ban it? Do you not? One team said, we don't ban it, we don't care. And look what happened to them. Now, of course, that game was very close. It really could have gone either way. But I'm super curious to see now what SVP do with this and say, we're prepared for it. We're ready for it. Buriram, we dare you to pick it.
Yeah, and the reason why I was a bit concerned is because SVP, they banned out Twisted Fate, who's very good at getting early picks, right? They banned out the Reddington, who's really good in the early game. But I think we kind of see the strategy bearing out here for SVP, right? You ban out the Reddington so that Raven can run wild. You have the very strong Varus who can kind of carry games. But I feel like unless the SVP has like a very polarized draft in which they can bring it to Buriram, even if they end up with a solid draft, as we're seeing here, very solid so far, especially with the Nami Varus combo. Nice. I still feel like it's not going to be enough. I feel like you need to like double out draft here Buriram here for them to win the game.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm happy so far, right? Because we did expect to see some gank-heavy junglers. Lee Sin banned away, Vi denied, so J4 then looks like the most likely option if you're not going to go for the Xin Zhao, for instance. Xin, could have been valuable here with a fair bit of range damage. It's not going to be the case, but they go for the Varus and the Nami. We know how aggressive that can be in the bot lane to look to try and get some early plates, look to try and shut down the Ziggs as well. But given that we now see that Senate, you'd imagine it's going to be the Senate matchup instead. So Buriram are saying, we've got some options to hit you early back with. We've got some scaling, and this is what we love to see. SVP giving us a picture on red side with some aggression, and then that crazy last pick, Aurelion Sol.
Yeah, Aurelion Sol can absolutely get in your face and make things happen. For Buriram, I like how they're not painting themselves in the corner, right? They're not saying, okay, we're going to completely shut down your early game, but then all of a sudden, wait a second, we have you scaling the late game better than us. They don't really want to paint themselves in the corner. They're really confident in their abilities. They have their early game. Then they scale into that late game with that bridge in between. They're just playing a very solid draft here, and that allows them to really take the game into their own hands.
Yeah, hopefully they do indeed. SVP, it seems like, again, they seem to be up to something. They seem to want to, throw Buriram United Esports off guard, perhaps with that Aurelion Sol pick. We're going to see if they can bring that aggression that we've been talking about to Buriram United Esports, because, again, you don't want to face up against Buriram on the late game. This team just gets scarier and scarier and scarier, and SVP, that window is closing for you guys. So, best of luck to you as we jump into game number 1 between Buriram United Esports and SVP. Casters, over to you guys.
Thank you, Mika Fabs, and here we are. The champions of the Hong Kong region, SVP, must win against the undefeated Buriram United to stand a chance in Group A. TJ, we've already seen the draft, and we are looking at the Aurelion Sol popping up for SVP.
Yeah, Contra and SVP are actually putting together a really good draft here. I really like the Aurelion Sol. It functions very much like Twisted Fate does, but does way more damage than Twisted Fate does. Downside, of course, a little bit harder to land those initiation stuns. You need to launch ambush attacks rather than just pull out a gold card. But you have that cross-map mobility, so you can function in a very similar way to Twisted Fate during the early game. Look for this Aurelion Sol on Yazi to get out of lane early and try to snowball particularly this Varus out ahead.
That will definitely be something to look up upon. And here we have a little bit skirmish going up top, and Noel is already trading against Albert, but he's losing a chunk of health. Here comes the flash.
Oh!
Almost landing an auto, but the minutes are in the way, though. Albert survives.
And he knows to wait until the end of the Ignite, so he gets maximum value out of the Honey Fruit. This is a massive wave that Noel managed to stack, though. And it's going to crash against the turret. Albert, is he trying to freeze this?
It's going to be pretty tough for him to freeze it for the moment.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why he let that crash. Albert will get the bounce. Yeah, this is weird. I'm like waiting to see the master plan, but Albert just prefers to farm behind turret, I guess. Gets a little bit of gold from the experience.
Well, at least surviving to Telltale and still managing to soak in all the EXP was well worth it, and Jarvan could easily just get himself a few items back and just steadily hold the lane against this
Oh, it
Armilla.
did.
And when we look back into the matchup here, when you compare Shiba as well as Pegor, I think that Shiba is going to be having some really good access if he wants to gank onto Yahtzee whenever he gets the Assault and Battery.
Yeah, and Shiba's going to actually start this gank up here on the top side because Albert did freeze the wave. He did manage to get that minion wave shifted over towards his side of the lane, which makes it so difficult for Noel to farm that Shiba has come up here to try and clear this barrier, to try and get a kill onto Albert now.
Oh no, immediately responded here. The Vine locks them in, and Albert's got nowhere to run. Still has his flash up, will not
He's
be able
gone.
to pull it anyways.
Very well played by Shiba, spotting that opportunity, and Buriram United, the only undefeated team in this tournament, by first blood.
Yahtzee charging up a huge comet, but won't be able to get anything done over on the bottom lane. And now, with Noel being activated here, this is going to look so hard for Albert under the turret. Once again, Vanguard's edge, and he flashes away. Albert still managing to survive out of that, and Shiba barely getting anything. Here comes the dome, and Albert takes down the
He
Vine.
dodges! Noel coming in, Dawning Shadow. That's enough. They get the kill.
My oh my, there's just so much heavy focus at Buriram United. Could have actually played that a little bit cleaner. Well,
Yeah.
there's something happening over Bob's side with the ribbon hopping right in. And with enough of that slash, Pegor will be able to take one down. Supporter, he doesn't really have all too much, and that's a double for Pegor.
And actually, SVP have made out like bandits. That equalizes the early game and gives them a tie gold, a kill lead, because Albert survives a 1v2, drawing the attention of 3 players, counting that Dawning Shadow from Kinemon, depriving him of an ultimate that maybe would have been very useful down in that bot lane team fight. And Albert leaves that trading 1-for-1, which is extremely positive. That's why he goes aggressive there, chasing the kill onto Shiba, because he's dead either way. He's low HP behind the turret. Noel will clean him up. So he goes aggressive to get the 1-for-1 trade, and it pays huge dividends, because then you have this focus up towards the top side not being rewarded, trading even, whilst SVP's focus is always going to be down here, always going to be with Papa, playing this Varus and trying to be the late game scaling carry.
And it's great to even have SVP focusing down on the bottom lane. Now that we will also have the ribbon up ahead, it's just going to be multiple scenarios that Buriram has to focus on when they go into that late game team fight.
Yeah, I actually really like SVP's kind of status right now. They're going to be strongest, I should clarify, not in the late game, but in this mid game right about now, which is quite possibly why Buriram are not challenging them. Buriram are also okay with this handshake because they do better in the late game, because they have the Senna, because they have the Ziggs, help me. And so they're all right just taking gold right now, throwing down this Rift Herald into one of those lanes to boost most likely their Ziggs ahead a decent chunk of gold. That's much more worth it to them than the Dragon. The Dragon for SVP will give them a gold boost immediately, and it will also indicate that they quite badly want to be able to end this game in the mid game. They're going to be trying to win around these Dragons, trying to force a fight right about now, using this Varus as soon as he completes Muramana, and Yahtzee now that he's completed his Leandri's Torment.
Right, and over onto Noel. Is going to be able to first hold the lane very well against Albert. So far, we just want to keep an eye out on Pegor if he's just going to be dropping by a visit to focus down the
Ding dong.
Buriram United side. But
That was Pegor ringing the doorbell. Ding dong.
Well,
He shut up. There wasn't a party. He was like, "Hey, Albert, is there a party going on?" No, there was not.
well, so far there is just a little bit of a sleeper going on. Maybe he just arrived a little bit too early to the party. So
Yeah.
nobody's
Game
there.
doesn't start for another 2 hours, you know? We're gonna be watching the game together. We got some of the beers. We're setting up the snacks table. We're not ready yet.
But eventually, if they were to actually prepare over the bottom side, we are already seeing supporters diving right in with a good ton. And
Here's the
rest
party.
of SVP, they've been able to actually catch onto Shiba. Here comes the hero's entrance, dropping right in as well. and chunking down some of these health bar, but Yazi arrives late to the scene. Archie's gonna follow up as well. Good flash coming from Kinemon, and they will be able to defuse that situation. SVP still holds on to the lead.
Yeah, SVP playing it very well, and this is, you know, what I was talking about, them playing through the bottom side, this being where the party is, because it's all about Papa. He's the major source of damage on this team, and he's just about to complete this Muramana to level it up, and that's going to mean that he's spiking on lethality. He's going to spike on roll damage from those arrows. We very rarely see a different Varus build, but this is going to be another instance of that. And the entire game throughout this mid-game is going to be a game of keep away. Can we protect Papa in these team fights whilst he throws out damage? And can we dive and properly threaten Kinemon and Archony so that they don't out-damage Papa and threaten him from range?
It could also be pretty difficult, especially when you have Archony that can actually nuke him down from quite a long distance, on top of a Shiva that will always dive hit first to look for Papa. So he's got to look into those builds and maybe consider something like the Hourglass, and
Would love that.
perhaps that could also buy them enough time for SVP to counter that initiation coming from Buriram United if that were to ever happen.
Yeah, that's definitely the kind of trade-off you need to be working on right now if you're Papa. Because as you say, this is a hard composition to win into. Buriram will hold this thought as Albert is under pressure. Papa is roaming up. This is going to be a 3-on-2 plus Rift Herald.
Albert Millie goes in, brings out the Cataclysm, locking them in place, but he won't be able to survive, and they will get the turret on top of the kill. Buriram United trying to neutralize all these goal gains, and perhaps this is where they can start to look for Pig, especially when they get any control over on the river for the next trade.
Yeah, so this is what I was getting into, is Archony and Kinemon are both going to start scaling into this game pretty huge. Archony's probably about to complete Rabadons. I haven't seen his actual build, but he's probably near that point. And Kinemon, it's a matter of souls. We don't have a good way of checking souls from this scoreboard, but I'd assume he's maybe 4 minutes away at most from his own power spike. And that's going to just be so devastating in terms of damage. I don't think SVP can
Shiva?
answer.
Oh my, almost stolen away, and Buriram United, they're pretty much torn apart. Split pushes across those fights, and it's Yahtzee that gets stumped upon. Noel goes in for the kill, while back in towards mid, they're chasing on top Albert, but Albert managing to find their way out. With those trades going on, it favors Buriram United so much so, although SVP walks away with the trade.
And it's what I was talking about. It's just not comparative damage. SVP have Papa, who does damage, who hurts in this fight, but he's kind of it. Because Albert is playing weak side top lane. He's supposed to soak damage. He's a secondary tank. If you play League of Legends PC, this Jarvan functions similarly to something like an Ornn. It's there to soak up and neutralize Noel's pressure, not there to win lane. He's not going to be able to do that. Albert is poking, Albert is tanking. Those are the two states of being for this top lane Jarvan, which means coming into this late game, it's all of the damage has to come from Papa and maybe Yazi. Yazi, who's trying to scale in here, who's, I believe, trying to complete a Rod of Ages right now, and isn't going to be near big enough damage to really end fights anytime soon. Good escape, though. Did you see that?
Yeah, I just
Kind of schmooved away. He just kind of...
just flying over the wall, but I believe that Rylise is definitely a better option, especially it's a little bit too late to build that Rod of Ages. If you were to actually go for that, it's better as an early item as compared to building a line resist.
Wow, yeah, Rylise coming out here is a better choice, but it does indicate to me that Yazi is sitting in for the long haul here. This is a late game build.
Oh, takeoff happening
And
over on the river though. What's going on right down there? And it seems like Noel caught off guard all alone, while
They
the
should
rest
not
of
fight
Buriram,
before this.
they're nowhere
It's
near, and they
dangerous
missed
for
the chain of
SVP.
corruptions as well. Hagar now chasing right in. They may not be able to get them right across. Here comes the time coming from
Buriram
supporter as
could
well.
turn this.
And with the assault round, they managed to bring them down. And Albert getting caught up in the Team Heroes entrance and knock it to 2. While Yahtzee is going to chase right across. But with the flag and drag, they managed to bring Shiba right down low. And Buriram United got them all cornered up. SVP, they turn tails and run. leaving down the Jarvan behind.
You do the math and you say, this is a 4v5, we can win this. But Buriram kite them perfectly and set up around this very weird corner with Archony just left completely alone. The only player that was harassing Archony was David, the Nami. And so Archony is just throwing bombs into the team fight. And Buriram, despite being down a player, have their entire kit, all of their damage online for that fight. Supporter soaks up this aggression. Watch this, Supporter tanking all the engage, and then the double damage sitting behind all of that, particularly Kinemon, just dealing damage unharmed in this backline. And check out Archony unthreatened round the side. SVP needed to slow down there, look at the map, take objectives, take turret control, not force a crazy fight like this.
Yeah, and they can't keep affording to rush right head first without any sort of vision into that bottleneck inside of the jungle. If they keep continuing on like that, Buriram could easily just punish them with all those ults available, especially when you look at Supporter. If he can get those beautiful short entrance into those team fights, SVP will not have too much to respond with.
Yeah, and Buriram are setting up a little bit of a death bush there. But it is checked. Watch out here.
Dragon drag.
He's
No
good.
problem for Albert at all, but Pagor's gonna be able to follow up. Here comes the Cataclysm, and he hits nothing there.
It's trapped them both. The Cataclysm kept Pagor and he couldn't get out.
Well, feels like an MMA ring for a little tap bit. Now they will contest for the Dragon Belt, and with the Assault Battery, and a good tidal wave. Knocking them up in the air, but they will be able to sustain for a little bit longer. That's where the Gallo takes an exit out. Well, R3 still continues on. Albert looking for him. Will be able to take down the Galio. Now chasing across, and Yassi is just dealing a truck ton of damage in this team fight. Kinemon, the next one to fall. It's a double for the Jarvan. And SVP may be able to trade. It's all the well here. And with that smite, that will be able to secure the Ocean Drake for SVP. But Noel still staying strong, but he will fall nonetheless.
That was so close. They're so close to a dragon being stolen away. That was so close to the team fight turning. But Gazi shows up with damage. He's going a little bit lighter of a damage build. It's very utility focused. But you can still see what happens when you have those stars just consecutively landing out here.
Oh my. Shiba only surviving with a tick of health left. And maybe he shouldn't be pushing all alone right across. But I think that was a decent trait that he was aiming for. Now he's already burned everything that he's got. So
yeah.
GA's
just had to absolutely back.
As well.
So Yazi doesn't have real damage on this character until he completes Rabadons, which is going to be his third item. That's why I said earlier that this was a little bit of a later game build. But I want to emphasize, he doesn't have real damage right now, and he still did a lot in that team fight through good positioning. That's why Aurelion Sol is so powerful. With the player down, Buriram are going to focus in on this Baron, knowing SVP needs to fight them 4v5. Power goes into the pit.
Pagor is pretty much stuck all alone, though. The rest of SVP not following up all in time. Albert joins along the way, but Buriram United wants to take this fight in on. Here comes a comment, and they will be all stuck here with the Aurelion Sol. He's going to be able to burn down all those health as he blasts them all the way backwards. Turns golden for a moment, while Albert chasing right in as well. They manage to defuse the situation, and it's a triple for Archony. He survives.
Shut down.
Archony, I don't know how you just lived. He lives on maybe 1 HP. SVP managed to cancel equally inexplicably that Baron take by extending the fight for so long. They burned GA, they burned stopwatches. Paragor in the pit at least 2 minutes too early. Maybe 5 minutes too early. I was checking my watch, Contra. I had hours to go before the Baron was going to die, and Paragor's just in the pit, just living his best life. Look at this, he's still about 6,000 HP when he commits, and they extend this fight. Chain of Corruption in, Dawning Shadow, all that finds the kill, but he's got GA. Albert in here tanking. They extend the fight, and it's not until Yazi arrives here and stuns everyone up and starts doing big damage with the comments that you realize, hang on, he and Papa have been poking away at this fight for a while. They're both still full HP. This is very winnable. And
Indeed.
That's exactly what SVP do.
And SVP, they're putting their best run right now, and as we hold on to that, there might just be a small skirmish going on. SVP knows what's at stake here. If they lose the series against Buriram, there's almost no chance that they make it out to still fight for the playoffs. And Buriram, this is the very first time that they look like they don't really have the best idea on how to approach SVP.
This would be a huge upset. I think this would be the biggest international result, or interregional result, I suppose, that a Hong Kong team has ever gotten. This would be a truly massive pickup for SVP. They did play under the name MVP during the Summer Super Cup, and they got fairly far into the tournament, but never looked especially impressive, beat up a lot of lesser teams. Buriram are no slouches. They are undefeated, the only undefeated team currently. And they are kind of on the back foot here, as Yazi has now completed his Rabadons, and we're looking at a late game for SVP that is much more powerful than I had anticipated because of the presence of Yazi, who's playing incredibly well, and the lack of focus from Buriram onto Papa, who's just surviving these team fights, sitting in the back lines, throwing out damage.
Yeah, and Buriram United, they really have to rely on supporter to be able
Elder
to
Dragon up.
not only hold up the front, but also to be able to help Kinemon sustain in both parts. Here comes a little bit of clash with a good bubble onto Shiba. That's the hero's SVP pop right by. Good knockup
Going
onto
shot
SVP, while the rest of it gets chunked out. Shiba
Noel.
makes an exit out. Well, Noel doing it all alone. He takes out a Nami.
Noel.
Now chasing for another one. Pops the GA. He turns golden, waiting for the rest of Buriram United to come right in. Great Justice Punch as well. And SVP,
Noel.
they have to fall back. Buriram United finds their lead after a little bit more of a long hustle.
Noel finds their lead, charging into a 1 versus 3, and single-handedly providing exactly what we were just critiquing. Focus, threat onto Papa, forcing him into stasis, forcing him out of the fight, and denying SVP exactly the team fight they brought to the last 3. Now they're going to get 3 kills.
My oh my, another one being picked up. Pagor was already too late. He should have actually let this one go. Buriram United only got 1 Drake, but this is the most important dragon of them all. And I think that they're pretty much well on track to be able to get this first win.
Yeah, Buriram have stabilized, and they do have the gold lead handedly, so I agree with you. This does look quite good for Buriram. I don't think SVP are entirely out of it. If they can execute the perfect team fight, they've had a couple of times so far. That's possible. What that looks like is Yazi and Papa surviving a lot of the team fight. Papa particularly not receiving threat and just being able to free fire arrows. There we go.
Up here, Assault Battery locks onto Pagor. Pagor
Yazi's
will not be able to
getting
actually
damage.
survive. He's getting surrounded by the rest of Buriram United. Now Yazi joins along the way, turns golden, but the Buriram United side will burn him down. He's
Papa's
got no
just free
mana as
firing.
well. And with the GA, that will keep Noel sustaining. And Albert chooses to commit with a Cataclysm. Does not look all too good. SVP does not want to commit any longer.
But they get exactly what I was just laying out. Both junglers die, so nobody's going to be able to get the Baron. And Yazi and Papa are just sitting there at the back of the fight, throwing out arrows, throwing out stars, having a good time. Getting so much efficiency. It's kind of absurd that they're able to get so much damage in a fight where Buriram has so much engage, so much focus, so much burst. And I think a lot of it has to go on to target calling. I think Buriram are really failing to do that here. They spend so much to engage versus the Riven. Understandably, that's the jungler, but they keep losing fights because they're not throwing any attention onto Papa. So I would love to see them reevaluate that and put a little bit more attention his way at the start of these team fights and not be in these positions where they're spending all of their engage and all of their mobility just to keep up with the Riven and not to have anything left to threaten the backline. Because that is costing them fight after fight after fight versus, frankly, a region they shouldn't be losing to. And in a tournament where they're so far undefeated, SVP are really giving them a run for their money.
Indeed they are. Yeah, just look at how SVP is managing in some of these team fights so well. And now here comes the Assault Battery chasing onto the Dragon with Mega Inferno Bomb dropped right in. Yazi still has his ult. Will be able to push back Shiba. And that is definitely a very risky call for Buriram United to make as well.
Good escape from Yazi, but he's burnt all his summoners and his ulti, so Buriram, I'd be interested to see if they're going to try and punish this They are grouping around the Baron. Yazi's back, no
Outlet
subs.
And Data Corruption lands perfectly on top of Supporter, but he'll be able to flash away while Shiva gets caught out with the stun. But they will not want to commit. Here comes the flag and drag. A little bit disconnect between SVP members. And this is the time for Buriram to shine.
No!
They come with Assault Battery. SVP, they got nothing left on Buriram. And now chasing onto Pagor as well, as they will now focus onto Papa. How long can he survive? He gets taken down by Arseny. Well, Shiva goes on this 1v1 trade. And Pagor managing an escape. And the problem is, Buriram, they're already marching right in to close out the game.
Yeah, this game's over. Pagor puts up a hell of an effort. But regardless of what happens here, the Nexus is going to be taken. That'll be the game. Noel does it again.
What a game between the both teams that we are currently witnessing. I'm
20 minutes on our head.
Yeah, honestly, referring to you saying that they should crush everyone, I think they were so, you know, they overthought it, and they didn't even want to show their normal rotations, right? Like, it seemed like the rotations like didn't even exist, because I feel like they didn't want to have like any tendencies shown to the opponent. They didn't want to show any like hidden secrets as far as rotations. We talk about draft
Should they
picks
need
that
to against an opponent like this? Like, surely not, right?
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. They didn't want to show anything, and they went like hard the other direction. They just like literally walked in like as like AIs around the map, right? Because they didn't want to show any opponent teams any sort of rotations, any sort of tendencies, and it just made it so much harder for them.
Yeah, which in itself, I mean, you know, it has its merits too. It definitely shows another side of Buriram United. And yes, I did know that we were talking about this behind the scenes, saying Buriram quite a lot. It's starting to get to us. And you know, they have more matches today, so it's gonna stay there. But yeah.
You didn't say what we were suggesting as far as what to call it.
Wait, it's not Chaos Desk yet. It's not Chaos Desk yet. We're gonna bring that out a little later.
We need to be more hungry for that to happen. Yeah, we're too early yet.
Getting there. Yeah, you know.
Bring it on them later on. Just
Yeah.
like
That's like late game. We gotta save that for a late game, I think. Anyway, we have Chap Select coming in here. We have first picks and the bans. And D2, what are your thoughts on this?
I like this one, Buriram. I mean, you just go for the lace in, just take SVP out of the misery, bring it to them early and often. You know, maybe Buriram was worried about SVP's only chance at winning a game, and so Buriram went for a very balanced comp last game. But yeah, now they're hovering that RE as well. I just feel like okay, let's just do this quick. Let's do this fast. I mean, I know we're late game players, but we're better than them, so let's just not have to worry about this anymore.
I'm so, I don't want to say tilted, maybe tilt's an overused word, but like they've given up the Varus when they banned away the Ziggs themselves on blue side. That was their strength. I'd love to have seen them just run it back with that again and be that bridge to get them into a position where they can crush the bot lane. They've said, no, we want to steal the Kaiser because Kinemon may just be the best Kaiser. Like, he's insane on this champion. He spams it religiously. 11 games played and 9 wins. They've just said, we want to take a range matchup where we're outranged, and they're just giving Buriram everything they want. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, this is a terrifying lineup coming up from Buriram. Just absolutely can take this to them. I mean, even though they have the Galio, they can go for the Nami as well, but it looks like they're going to go in a different direction. Yeah, it seems like SVP's lineup is a bit discombobulated. Yeah, you have the Lulu Kaisa combo. Yeah, you have the strong Ribbon, but everything doesn't really combo together very well, whereas everything from Buriram just feels so tight.
Yeah, I thought they would have built on their game 1 success and said, let's double down and let's, run it back again. But they've defaulted back to, I can only imagine, is going to be the Akali in mid lane, which Yahtzee's always rushed this Gunblade, which you've been a little bit critical of at the best of times as to what the sort of off is. He's trying to snowball more like a solo queue game, but I would much rather see the likes of an Infinity Orb or a Rabadon's Cap come out early as well for that instant injection, especially in competitive play, in my opinion at least anyway. So they've gone for a comp where it's like we've got pure mechanics, but so much melee. The Varus is going to have an absolute dream to play this game, to hit the Train of Corruption, and it's all done. The Darius as well can just walk in, swing the axe, apply max bleed stacks everywhere. I don't think this game will go to 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think I was about to say the same exact thing. I think this is going to be over very quickly. It might contend for one of the fastest games in tournaments. That's my prediction.
Possibly. Omo does have that little competition ongoing, so we're gonna see if somebody can break the record over here. But for SVP, it seems like they have, jumped out of the frying pan and into the fire, but we'll see what they can pull for game 2. SVP versus Buriram United. Casters, over to you guys.
Loving the second game draft right here coming from SVP as well as Buriram United, where SVP wants to overwhelm them with damage, and Buriram United has got the death ball running at them. And here we are, SVP needing to go for the tie in hopes to get out of this group to the playoffs.
SVP needing to shut down the tie team in order to get through this group and get into playoffs contra. I'm really excited because the desk had some strong words there. That was, you know, the quickest game of the group stage, I think Daniel said. And I don't know if I see that.
Yeah, we were so caught up with all those sort of reaction that it didn't felt like another one on the list of almost speed run at all. Well, it definitely was an explosive trade between both Buriram United as well as SVP. If only SVP held on to those team fights a little bit better on the past game.
Yeah, I think SVP took game number 1 remarkably close, and they put the man who really did it on an Akali. And with Yazi getting the Akali, I see a whole lot of threat onto Kinemon. I see a whole lot of threat onto Archony. And it's down to Supporter and Noel to play kind of defense and shut that down. So unless, and I'm going to say this knowing it might happen, Shiba finds a kill here.
Wow, that's a really huge commitment of Shiba, though. He burns a flash, and of course that trades it with Albert. But Albert survives ultimately, and this is going to be pretty much great for him to trade off against the Darius.
So unless Shiba gets off to a really good start, I don't think this game's going to be a blowout. Because provided Shiba doesn't find an early start, he is re-ganking up top. Hold on.
Shiba now driving right in, and who misses the stun though. This might just be the first blood, and yes, it will be confirmed for United.
Here comes Yazi. Nothing from it. Yeah, all right. Remember what I said? Unless they get off to an early start, there's the early start. Shiba demonstrates what an early game Lee Sin can do. There's so much power in Lee Sin's kit before he hits level 5, and that's what makes him different from every other jungler in the game. Lee Sin, you can take into lane level 1, level 2, and already do so much damage. There, the gank comes out level 3, a little more standard, and Shiba has enough damage to confirm it with a very good roam up from Archony as well, getting out of the lane early as we asked him to. And this puts the pressure on SVP. They need to shut down Shiba. They need to get gold onto Yazi if they want to keep this game going.
And that happened was interesting, but hold on, another punishment up top. This time, Supporter comes in just to get Noel ahead.
Supporter on a long run there. And
still chasing right in. They want to take down Pagor, and probably this Ribbon's going to be able to hop all the way into the turret range. But Shiba, he's still trying to find a little bit of lead. Here comes the Dragon Straight with the dunk. Noel goes 2-0.
He jumped into the taunt. What are you doing? Wait 10 seconds.
And Shiba, he's pulling out the Vanguards at pretty much early on, and this is where they managed to find a kill onto the Galio. Meanwhile, over on the bot side, good trades coming from Kinemon. And Noel.
Albert goes down here as well, as a long line of SVP players walk into the top lane and die one by one.
Top lane doesn't feel like an island anymore. You know, like, this is where the party's at.
No, it's a river contra. A river of blood.
Indeed. Built all across the map, or should I just say, the Baron lane itself, where Noel definitely causing a whole lot of hemorrhage onto Albert. Now, Albert not going to be able to actually find too much going on for himself.
This is rough. You're going to need to just look at ways to stem the bleeding over on SVP. I hope they brought their bandages. Because all their gold is on Yazi. He's got to be the carry, at least for this mid-game, until Papa shows up. There we go.
Does not really connect, coming in from Supporter, while Papa still coming in with the chase as well. They managed to stun both of them with SVP. They managed to kick him away. Shiba stays alive, but Supporter won't be able to hold off far too long. Pagor will be able to find one back for SVP as they head to the Dragon.
Okay, SVP play to their point of power. They stop playing to the top lane that's losing, and they direct their focus down towards the bottom side of the map where they are winning. It's a simple maneuver, but a clever one, and it pays off.
Trying to go in for another pickup as they focus on Kinemon. Yazi now getting flushed over
dancing
on the
away.
wall. And Buriram United takes back control of the Dragon. This is quite huge for Buriram.
but SVP make the right call. They can't fight it given their low health bars. If they find the pick there through the bottom lane, this is doable, but they don't. So they absolutely make the right decision. They disengage, they don't take any more risks, and that's the right thing to do. I was a little bit worried that SVP might hang around and try and fight for that dragon, when really they're going to be winning this trade because you have to be factoring in this top side, and that they're going to have a positive reset if they go in for this Rift Herald right now.
Hand lands on top of Albert, and there goes the rest of SVP chasing right in. Hero's entrance drops in, and they get them all knocked in the air. Hagar managing to get themselves into safety, but David will not. Meanwhile, not mid, and Yahtzee! He solo killed the Ahri? I can't believe my eyes.
And this is what I'm talking about. Uh-oh.
We're going to continue where we left off, and we will take it back to the Herald. Albert now chunked down. He's only got 1 HP. Wall Papa, right for life, he will be able to secure one before he goes down. It's a shutdown on the Darius, and yet again, Yahtzee will be able to clean up shop. Zero, what's he going to do? He lets the king. He does not get Pagor. They're all hanging by a thread, and with the wild growth, they will be able to get that Herald, perhaps.
Spreading the wild growth to get the Herald. This is what I'm talking about. Stop playing to Albert. It's doomed. That top lane is over. Play to your points of power. Yahtzee getting solo kills, finding opportunities. Papa sustaining through the team fight and building a path for SVP to get back into this game, giving them a goal differential that's only 1,000 as they shrink that lead for Buriram drastically. That right there onto the blue buff was the first stun that Albert has hit all game, and that's a sign you need to give that Aurelia time to cool off.
Oh boy. Well, that's the second one as well. So,
yeah!
Gotta start practicing on this Blue Sentinel Golem.
It doesn't dodge, Contra.
Hopefully he gets another stun off because he's getting chunked down, getting taunted, and looks like he's already down and out.
What I really love about this is that Supporter now has a blue buff.
Hey Gordo, he's going to be able to slash down Shiva with the chase coming out. The killer instinct will be able to bring one kill back to SVP. Now chasing back onto Supporter. Supporter won't be able to survive for far too long. 1 HP though, and 1 tap is all it takes. Papa now gets slammed, and more of these resets might come by with the flash. It's a double, make it a triple! Noel, you're a beast!
That's insane! Noel gets a triple kill for the second time in 2 games for the second series tonight. Noel is single-handedly making the difference for Buriram. Every time a game seems to be spiraling out of control, it's their top laner who steps up to bat, this time with an axe.
My, and just look at this team fight here. It looked as if it was SVP here to take them all down, but that overcommitment on that Gallo costed them so much. It shouldn't be this way. SVP, they take up too much more than they can chew.
And the miscall there is not spending wild growth proactively on Papa. You need to be thinking about this as a protect the carry composition. You have so much power, but it is only in Papa and Yazzie's team fighting. And that means the second they get low, the second they might take a turret shot, oh dear. The second they're wandering all alone in the middle of the map, you have problems.
Just when you mentioned about Papa, Papa's not really having all too much of a good time. Here comes the Vanguard's edge, brings Noel over the corner, and Noel will still slam them down. And how could they deal with this Darius right now?
Yeah, Albert has just been blown out of lane. This is disgusting. Noel has such a gold lead. This is going to be the Darius that, like, gets him banned for the rest of the tournament. I don't know if Noel's ever going to get a Darius after this 9-1 performance at the 9-minute mark. A kill a minute, and then some in the assist column for Noel as he single-handedly drags Buriram back in control of this game, and they're going to get a dragon for his efforts. Here come SVP to try and disrupt it.
Having Albert on the flank. Meanwhile, a flash coming in from David. He wall girls knocked him up in the air. And this is where they find a little bit more chance. But how are they going to deal with the Darius though? This is where they lock them up in place. Haber returns golden for a little bit more. Here comes the killer instinct as well. Onto the Lee Sin. They take them all down. But Hager is pretty much stuck as well. It's a triple for Kinemon. Now, Albert will go down. It's Noel's show after all. And somehow, Yossi making plays
They're
happen.
still
Double!
going.
Can he get it out alive? He takes a couple of Honeybirds, will be able to trade against Noel, but Noel is way too strong. Lets him live for a moment, and with Flash, that will take down the rest of SVP.
You can't stop Noel. It's a desperate, a heroic effort from Yazi, but you cannot stop Noel, not in the middle of these fights. Yazi just, despite everything, gets zoned away. Here's a question mark though. Noel needs to reset. Sheba's coming in here. Can they get this dragon?
He may not have too much of that mana, but he wanted to actually go in for a setup. Here comes the Pagar with a good stun onto Tree. And somehow Albert tries to commit. Falling it off, here comes the TP into the river while Noel getting caught out. And he should have backed away when he had the chance. SVP tries to claim the dragon, but Buriram United...
And it's all under Papa. Papa just got so much shutdown gold contra. This Kai'Sa is going to be huge.
He's rich, and perhaps this might just be the comeback of SVP, but they're still behind 4,000 gold. With one more good team fight, SVP might be able to pull it.
He's like you, Contra. He's rolling in the cash money.
Well, I wish I have more stash out there.
He's bathing in the stacks of dollars.
I don't think I can
Just
take
like
down
you do.
Darius for it, though. So,
Oh
it
my
makes
God.
Yahtzee
Good
so
Lord.
much better. Or Papa.
Yeah.
Yeah, Papa.
I wish I was Darius Rich. You know who's Darius Rich? Mika. You can tell.
Oh, dear Mika. You gotta call out for that.
She's got like a bath of gold coins at home, I can tell.
Well, I guess if he places all around the room, it might just be some good feng shui that could actually go for SVP.
I like that.
And, you know, Papa having a lot of money, maybe he could fund some buddies' education. As currently, Buriram United is in an awkward position, but they have room for Noel for the push.
Play what they're doing, Contra. They're funding Buriram's education because they're taking him to school. Here we go. 2 buys and bids.
Speaking about schooling somebody right here, here comes the hero's entrance, and that's where Albert gets caught up as well, and will be versus down. But Noel is the big daddy in this fight.
Oh,
but Papa still has the killer instinct. He will not survive though. Buriram United got Pagar cornered up while Yossi tries to back away. He's got some really great position, but Noel, this guy is way too huge.
A desperate attempt to weave through the fight from Papa, but Yazi's just separated. And this is the problem with SVP. If you're okay.
Oh, good taunt onto
into the taunt.
Not gonna
Yeah, this is the second time this game that SVP members have just full sent it into the taunt, so I'm not sure how to feel about that. Here comes Noel.
Oh boy. Speak of the devil, and this is where he's gonna flash over the wall, looks for Yahtzee.
Wow!
But the Galileo here won't be able to pick it up. Supporter says, hey, I want some cash too. While Noel just walking all alone like a boss. Just look at him.
Yeah, he's hunting. Look at this. He knows where Pagar must be. He's gonna get him.
1v1. Might just be throwing with the rest of SVP. Now he will be able to try to sustain, but he won't be having too much of a fun time here with 4 members of SVP around the corner.
Sheba and Archony see those 4 members in the river though, and they say, sick, free turret. So Noel's death kind of balances out. So here's the problem that SVP are having. You might be like, how do these teamfights keep going so bad for them when they start so well? They're actually not being very efficient with their damage. What I mean by that is that Yazi and Papa, whilst their front line is engaging and dying, quite frequently are not finding damage of their own. If your front line is fighting, you as the Kai'Sa basically just need to be auto-attacking. It doesn't especially matter who you're auto-attacking into during that time. You obviously want to save your burst for key targets. But spend the time in range and auto-attacking. That's a movement challenge, and one that Papa is repeatedly failing, as he's out of position for these fights. This last fight actually was Yazi. He did get the steal. That's gross. This last fight in the mid lane, it was actually Yazi, who was just out of position trying to deal with Noel when he really should have been shooing up the backline, threatening Kinemon.
They give a threat right here. Of course, Buriram wants to set something up, and that's definitely a huge pointer out there. But Buriram United, they're smart enough not to have Noel to start off the majority of all these fights. He's the one that flanks. I hardly see Darius's play this way, to be honest.
And Contra, he's so fast. He's built Force of Nature and Deadman's Plate. This man takes big steps. He's got long legs.
Long legs. I wish I had some of that too.
He's speed walking down the rift.
Well,
Look
let's
at
see
this!
how far
He's
can
so
he
fast!
possibly run towards the rest of SVP as well. Well, they have got Buriram United here, who's already working on that break.
Look at how fast he's moving!
As fast as he
no!
goes, he managed to go in for the pull, but no follow-up whatsoever. Buriram United just hopes to secure the drag for themselves.
Yeah, SVP shouldn't be fighting for that. I don't know what they fight for. They're just waiting for a mistake at this point. They're down 6,000 gold, maybe more, so you just wait. You see if there's a mistake that happens, and if there is, you hope you're in position to punish it. Because by default, SVP should just close out this game by getting major objectives in a couple of minutes.
That's right. Going back to the fast-walking Darius, he's like the guy in the gym that does a whole lot of cardio. And
Yeah!
she's surrounded by a lot of muscular guys and holding it onto that. This is where the knockout comes right in. What Buriram United, they're pretty much all cornered up. SVP's turn to shine, and they're chasing on. Papa will be able to secure the kill onto supporter and also get him on. This is huge for SVP, but Buriram United will stay strong. And now they look for Papa. Papa turns golden. He will be taken down. But good kiss coming from Archony. This is where Buriram will be able to halt them back. And the well. It's just controlling.
It's a 2-for-2 trade, so that's a decent trade actually for SVP. But I need to talk about Yazi, who got a kill in that fight and then just backed Contra. He just recalled. He just went home. He punched out of work. He said, "I'm done with my work for today.
It's like,
I
okay,
filled out my time card.
yeah,
I'll see you guys tomorrow."
no overtime, but we're
No
gonna go slow-mo on
overtime.
this.
I'm not getting paid for this. Watch this. If we can get this team fight going along. So Yazi TP's in, goes through this fight. It's a little rough, but he's still got like half his HP. He gets these kills, and then watch him very top corner. Hi, peace.
Well, have a look at that.
He could have cleaned up this fight. He would have been so useful. He just went home.
Could have, would have, and should have actually done that. But then again, I guess that, maybe items are more important. Gotta rejuvenate in the spot, and here comes a flash, I believe. Well, and Albert
Good stun.
tries to actually hold him back here with the Vanguard's edge while Pagor is charging up. He's got a GA available. This can actually extend the trade for SVP.
I just want to stress, Yazi went back and bought a single magic damage book. He bought a single tome. It wasn't a major item, he was getting.
It's like, hold up, I gotta catch up on my Harry Potter books.
Yeah, gotta catch up on my reading. I love it.
when
He's got a reading list.
when you got movies out there where you could just, join in the action.
Ah, dear.
Not gonna hold it up too much for that though. I believe that there's still opportunities for Yazi to pop up on the next fight.
Well, I mean, he has to. That's the problem. He's 7-3. He's the most important character in this game. And that's my problem, is that he just left. And Yazi has the entire weight of SVP on his shoulders. He's played incredibly well this series, and he has to deliver here. Because life's unfair, and sometimes even when you've been working really hard, you gotta keep working.
Right, the well gonna be working those extra long legs, and that's where Papa will have to be turned golden for a tad bit. Here comes the hero's entrance. We'll be able to negate them for only a tad bit. Here comes Yazi diving in the back. We'll be able to find anyone, and he gets dropped immediately. Shiva gives him a little bit more space, but that's a flash, a charm, and the rest of Buriram United will be able to clean everyone up. SVP, they're all battered and bruised, and with a stun, Kidmon will be able to find one more. SVP only having Papa left, and that is going to miss. And oh my word! You call for Papa, he tries to deliver, but he will fall. Buriram United will get their clean sheet after all, and they will still be the leader of the pack in Group A.
And still undefeated as they blast out of the group stage. That seals the deal pretty much.